Be sure to specify that you are looking for is remote work. The reasons can be omitted if it causes discomfort or you do not want to advertise their cause. I advise you not to take on challenges which can take a long time. Usually, most companies give not too difficult and are willing to pay for the implementation of the minimum tariff. If you are asked to post ideas for development or to conduct marketing research, you might want to use as free labor. I had to redo it with 2 or 3 dozen of tests before I realized that I used to get work done and not pay for it. If the vacancy involves programming, it is likely that you will be asked to answer a few questions about the code or give some task of online services. The time you will work have to be paid. And no matter the trial period or full workflow. The only thing the probation period may differ according to payment. I am quite often faced with employers who try this to reduce the cost of work or processes. I recommend in the first days of work to meet other colleagues and to question everything more. It is now quite normal, sometimes even better, if your resume got into the hands hunters, because it increases the chances of finding a job on your specialty and in the area that you choose for yourself. In any case, you should not agree to long working hours. I had the unfortunate experience of having to work for free, and the payment I got for one. If you offer to work more than 8 hours of active work time, some employers use time tracker for monitoring worker activity. Feel free to ask payment in excess of time in an amount not less than the value of the hour at the rate offered in the job. In accordance with the current legislation of Ukraine, the working time must not exceed 40 hours per week. It should be borne in mind that time tracker capture only the active action, so the time spent at the computer will be much more. If your job requires a large amount of outgoing calls or roaming calls requiring compensation workers, i.e. telephone conversations, suggest for such purposes to buy a separate SIM card to be used exclusively in the working key. In this case, we can capture all calls in a special TM systems, which should provide you with the employer. Do not be afraid of interviews. As a rule, major companies conduct several rounds of interviews. The first is with a recruiter or of the company, the second with Totta, and the third with the head of a company or division of the company. At the first interview, it will be over the phone or by video conference via Skype. You have to make a good impression, because its results will be to assess your communication data. How can you tell how fast you react to the question and the like? If the company is foreign, you may be asked to communicate in the language that is required for employment for this job. You may offer to perform the test task. If you have accomplished the test task, the purpose of the second round of interviews is likely to mean that you passed the test and is a potential candidate for the position. Be sure to sign bilateral agreements with the employer for further interaction. They specify the amount of remuneration, the list of responsibilities that you must fulfill, and deadlines. Especially if you are working through the LCHALP, if the amount of remuneration for work performed is not constant, then such works are governed by the monthly Acts of Acceptance of Work Performed, which specifies a list of works or services that you have provided during the reporting period and the amount to pay for them. However, the Act is sent an invoice payment system, which is the basis for making payments between you and the employer. Keep in mind, if you work through the LCHALP, the tax payment independently. So take this into account when you negotiate the cost of the test.